loud.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I want to say good morning and thank you everybody for joining us for the first book club for You Can Do Hard Things. I'm so excited. You are, Loran. I'm so excited. For those of you who don't know the whole story, I'll just give you a quick little rundown because it's in the book. So we're doing the book club, which is great. My audio is not working. Okay. This book took me 3 months to write. I was so passionate that when I started my self-development journey, I started with a book. I just was wanting more. I thought, this life is great. I've got 3 kids. I own a restaurant. I'm married. Everything on the outside looks great. I've got it all. But for some reason on the inside, I had something pulling at me. I had something telling me I wanted more. And I couldn't quite figure it out at first. And I've learned that a lot of times we just have this little inkling. We can't really put our finger on it. I've had a lot of conversations, and it's something that just starts to evolve, right? You do one thing and it sparks something in you. And then you do something else and it sparks something in you. And so the first thing I did was I read a book, Meant for More by Mia Hewitt. And it taught me a lot about my brain. It taught me a lot about my subconscious and my conscious thoughts. And during this time when I was learning who I was and feeling this pull and wanting more, I couldn't quite figure it out. But in the book, it asked you to go back to your earliest memory that you could remember. And I thought it was kind of odd. And I didn't really know how to shuffle through everything in my brain. And so I just started to do it slowly. And I just sat there and I really tried to go back to my earliest memory. It wasn't a really fond one. It was with my dad and my mom, and it was an argument. So it wasn't a really good memory, but it taught me that there was a feeling that was there with that memory. And that's the part that was the teaching moment. It wasn't necessarily the memory. It was how my brain processed the memory, that it was a feeling, that it was an emotion, that what I was doing now in my conscious, which is my everyday, sometimes things would go back to that feeling and I would make decisions or I would do things based on that feeling from the past in my subconscious versus my conscious, which was what I was doing right now. But I didn't know what was happening. I had no idea that the brain was that powerful. And once I learned how powerful your brain is, I was literally blown away. I was like, really? Like, I'm that powerful? I had no idea that what was playing in the background of my subconscious in that big supercomputer that takes in everything that's ever happened to you would play for you in the background and dictate things for right now, today. It wasn't something I would compartmentalize a lot. I put it in a box. That's what I would say. I would actually say that. I put it in a box and I put it under the bed, or I put it on a shelf or something like that. I didn't realize that it really did come back. So then after that, after I read the book, I was like, okay, this is new about me. And I just started to take inventory. And I was really starting to reflect. I didn't know that that's what I was doing in the process because I hadn't learned that yet. But I was looking at things that I did, and then I was looking at maybe the reason why I did it, because there were some things where I was questioning myself, going, why would I do that? What made me do that? And so then it was my birthday, and I said, I want to do something for myself. I'd always wanted to see Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins was the guru, right? He had the answers. I knew that if I could go see him, I would learn everything I needed to know. And that spark would turn in me and I would be set. It would change my life forever. So I went to this real estate convention and that's where Osbert was, but we didn't even know it. This is the funniest story. We didn't even know that we were there together. And I thought it was hilarious after we met at a different business group and we found this out about each other. So the world works in mysterious ways. $95 ticket. Tony Robbins was there, Grant Cardone, Sylvester Stallone, Gary Vee. I want to say it was Trent Shelton, Elena Cardone. Lots of people that I didn't even consider in self-development. I didn't even really know what the word self-development was. I really had never been introduced to it. And again, that's what sparked the book. But when I was there at the conference, I went all by myself. And a lot of times we don't have the courage to do things like that. We need somebody to go with us. We want somebody to guide us. And I found that I actually needed to do it by myself. That's just part of the growing process for me. And when I went, I got out of my comfort zone, right? There's nobody there. I don't know anybody. I had to spark conversations with people that I didn't know. I took notes. I sat, I paid attention. This guy named Grant Cardone came out before Tony Robbins. He was the bang. He was the glitz. He had an entourage. He was throwing money. I can't remember the song, but I'm sure I still have the video. I should pull it up just for shits and giggles because he came in with a bang and it just stuck with me. So that was an emotion, right? And now it's funny reflecting on it. I just actually learned that. Why did I remember him? I saw the energy that he had and the fire that he had and the passion for what he was doing. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I was on the edge of my seat. I was listening to this guy. And I just took note. And the second day, Tony Robbins came on. And I sat at the edge of my seat and I listened and I listened. And he walked around the room and I took notes and I just sat there. And I didn't really have that moment that I was looking for. I didn't have that aha that I was searching for. So that second day, Grant Cardone came back out and he gave information on a seminar and he said, text this number and you'll have a free hour with me, blah, 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 blah. But the turning moment was when Grant Cardone, what is he, 5'10", good looking guy from Louisiana, tells his story. He said he was on drugs. Some guy almost, beat him to death. And he stood up there and it felt like he looked right at me and he pointed his finger and he said, if I can do it, you can do it too. And that was the catalyst. That was my moment. That was when I said, yes, I can. And he just gave me this inspiration, this spark to say, I want more. And so I did the seminar. That's how it started for me. That's what happened. Those were two events. I read the book and then I went to an actual event where I said, I'm going to change. I know that my brain is powerful and whatever I'm telling myself is not always true. And so I learned that the courage it took for me to go to that event all by myself, right? 3 kids, restaurant owner. I have no degree. I went, I've had no official schooling. I have my real estate license, but I went and it took the courage to do that. The second step in my courage was I signed up for the free program. Then in the program, I paid $9.97 and it got me a ticket to GrowthCon. So I'm taking all of these little steps in courage, but it's changing my viewpoint. It's changing my perspective, right? I'm learning new things. I'm meeting new people. It's all things that led up to the evolution of who I was becoming. So I decided to work on me and see what I didn't know. The pulling at me, the seeking the knowledge was so strong. I was constantly wanting more. I started with Osbert and Ben in the GSD community, and that was amazing. And one of the things during the self-development journey, when I started this group, we did a challenge, and it was on affirmations. And affirmations are something that helps you rewire your subconscious. So these are turning points, right? But then it all comes together. The book, my subconscious, my conscious mind, the event, the dreaming, the wanting bigger, the learning, the constant thirst for knowledge and seeking, right? The affirmation challenge came and I learned something. I used to say, well, we say a lot of things, right? The words we speak are very powerful. If nobody's listening, don't forget, you are listening. Your subconscious records everything that you hear. And when I say you hear, it's the words that come out of your mouth. It is recording everything you say, every experience that you have, every feeling. It's all there. So I can't remember the exact challenge, but it was affirmations. And I think we had to do 3 things. But I used to tell myself, and I was doing a video when this happened to me. I used to say, I don't share very well. And what I learned when I said that, I was giving myself a wall, like I was guarding myself. It was something that I was doing without even knowing it. It was something that I thought was true. But I really learned that I was doing it because I was shielding myself. There was a feeling, there was an emotion, something happened where I didn't want to share how I was feeling. Because if I shared how I was feeling, then it meant that somebody could get inside. Somebody could give me an emotion that I not necessarily wanted. I didn't know how to process that. And so there was this big aha moment when I learned that those words were actually blocking me. They were actually prohibiting me from growing. And so I changed it. So my very first affirmation is, I share very well. The boys know this. They've heard it a million times because I used to say it to myself so often because it was my reminder to tell myself that I don't need to be guarded. I don't need to be sheltered. I don't need to be, I did it. I got it. I don't need to be scared. I don't need to be scared to be vulnerable. That part took me a little bit of time. The vulnerable part took me a little while. So coming up to this point, those were 3 pivotal moments in my growth. And when I learned these things, I literally said to myself, why didn't anybody tell me sooner? I learned this when I was, okay, I used to say I was 39. I wasn't 39 when I learned it. I was a little older. I even say that in my book, but it doesn't matter. The point is, I learned, and now I had the opportunity to do something with it, and I wanted to share it. So I share very well, and that is when I decided to write my book. So no matter your age or what level of development you are, in any way, you can always learn and get better. It's just part of the process. You just have to, good morning. You just have to want to learn, right? If you don't want to learn, then the things that you hear won't resonate. They won't get to that point in your life where you can actually do something with it. So that is one of the things that I learned, that knowledge isn't power. It's the courage to use the knowledge, which is power, right? You can hear, you can read, you can attend, but if you don't take the action steps, if you don't have the courage to use the knowledge that you learn, then it's just empty space. It just takes up space in your brain unless you actually use it, unless you put it to work. One of my favorite quotes, and it's actually the first thing in my book, is it's actually one of my mantras. It's Jim Rohn, and it is, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. So I have the chat open, and I would love to know what your expectation is from this book club. I'll just give you a little, while you're thinking, I'll just give you a little excerpt, because I learned, even going into business boot camps and things like that, whatever I do, I have an intention, right? What do I want to get out of this? I'm asking for 5 weeks of your time to help you get better, to help you unlock something, to help you be consistent. I'd like to know, so just drop it in the chat, why you signed up or why you're willing to commit to 5 weeks of this book club. It's really important. And this is one of the reasons why I put the activities in the book, is because I learned that, again, you can take it all in, you can listen, you can watch, you can see other people do it, but until you put it into, it won't change. So whatever your it is, I know it. I'm one of the biggest things I hear all the time is, I know. I know. Well, if you know, then why aren't you doing it? There's something in there in the subconscious from one experience that you've had, whether it was something that didn't go well, or you didn't know how to do it and you stopped. And it's just something that you might not know is there, right? It's just like my affirmation. I was saying the words, I just didn't know the impact it was having on me. I didn't know that it was holding me back. So I'm gonna look in the chat. Oh, I love that. Cheryl said, because I'm worth it. Cheryl's on an amazing growth journey, which is awesome to see. And I'm honored that you are looking to me, Cheryl, for guidance and advice, which, you know, everything I do, anybody can do. Like I said, it's not rocket science. You just have to put in the time. You have to want to do it. Osbert, accountability. That's what I do, right? That's what I do. You need a kick in the ass? I'll give you one. Who hasn't heard me say that? Ben actually gave me the title CEO. He's the actual one who said, I remember it was, I think I did give you a kick in the ass, huh? And you did a video and you said, I forget what it was for. Do you remember what it was for? The kick in the ass?
I you know what? I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, I do remember. I needed it. It was one of those moments where you just need that.
So cute. I love hard conversations. I know that we don't have them enough. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to use this time and have this space. This first chapter is really all about you. So I'm giving you my experience and my perspective, because that's what I know. That's what I have done. And so now I'm giving you my story so that you can look in your life and see what those moments were. Because the biggest question you can ask yourself is, what do I want? It's the first question I ask at the end of this chapter. And the reason why I go through the moments is because those were the turning moments for me. Those were my sparks. Those were my ahas. So if you go through your experiences and you say, what was it? Like Osbert and I think we're pretty much on the same evolution, right? Was that your first spark to the 10X community, or did you know it before that? The real estate convention.
I was exposed to Grant before that because I was in the car business
Mm,
prior to that. So I knew him as a car guy, but he wasn't in the personal development space at that point. But I also went there by myself. I was like the second person in line, and I sat in front and the whole thing. And it was just one of those things to where I was looking for my tribe at that point,
mhm.
where like I needed an environment that was conducive for my growth. And then in essence, that's where I met you. That's where I met Ben, and I met, so many different people along the way. But that was the catalyst to like where I am now, to where I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for that one event. So it's the exact same thing.
Yeah. So if you can think back, and even if you don't, right? So first step is, if you can think back to a time where you had one of those moments, really focus on the feeling. Was it something good? Was it something you felt, I don't know, inadequate? Did you think that, you weren't supposed to be there? Was it something really good, and you wanted to do more of it? Is that something that sparked you? And the reason why I ask for basically the pros and the cons is because your conditioning in life is part of the reason why you do the things you do today. The conditioning you have, if you start, if you stop, if you start, if you stop, if you start, and you stop, there's a reason. But you have to look inside to find that reason. I can't tell you what that reason is. And during this journey, and I honestly found it after I wrote the book, is the reflection process. And another reason why I wanted to do the book club is so that I can walk you through that process, because it's the most gratifying, significant thing that you can do for yourself, because nobody is really going to give you the answers, right? The whole process of seeking information is to find it in you, because nobody's going to get you out of bed. Nobody's going to write the book for you. Nobody's going to go to your job and do what you have to do. It all is upon you. You control what your actions are. All these faces are staring at me. That's better. I like the smiles. I like the smiles. I like the energy. Loran, willing to commit 5 weeks because it's a short amount of time. Okay, good. So a habit basically takes 3 weeks. So 28 days, right? To build a habit. You're right. The tiny changes make a big one. And consistency is one of the biggest struggles that I have seen with all of the hard conversations that I have had. And that's why I'm coming out with the Consistency Maker. It's a journal. It's an intentional planner. That's what I finally named it. It's an intentional planner. Took me a while. Bernie, the more I hear others' stories of overcoming, the more confidence I will have in conquering and overcoming my battles. That's right. And Julie, to find my moment and to unblock my desires. A lot of times, it is a consistent, that's the word. It is a consistent small step, right? That leads to the big ones, just like Lauren said, just like a lot of people say. They say it in different ways, but if you can do those tiny steps, yes. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you get to the top? One stare at a time. You just have to do it little by little. The more you do it, the easier it gets. The easier it gets, the more you want to do it. The more you do it, the momentum is gained. And that is what I have learned. And it is an amazing process. I missed one, Andrea. Oh, you went through the book 2 times. I love it. Accountability is huge. And belief in myself. That's really big. We will get into affirmations into another chapter in the book, which is actually the next one. But thank you, everybody, for saying why you're here. I appreciate your time, and I'm gonna call you out, Mr. Berg. I don't see one from you. Did I miss it?
Oh, no. It's not there. I'll be the first one to admit it. I just like to talk about it. I'm not a really big typer about it.
Okay, you want to talk
Yeah.
about it? Do you want to share?
I believe the quote is, "I share very well."
I share very well. I'd love to pass that on to you. Go for it.
I'll tell you what, I actually was looking forward to this. I know that the three of us have been in a few other groups together, and one of the things that I've been missing in the last few months is that group community. And so I jumped, well, as soon as I saw you posting this, I went, you know what? I think I need this in my life. Hold on a sec. My cat's trying to be a little friendly. She's going to be part of the video too. So it is, for me, I've actually tried to garner a little bit of momentum on some other groups, and they've all just kind of fizzled out. And I was looking for it, and I'm looking for the accountability. And yeah, 5 weeks, I'm in. And yeah, beat the
And
Sun
you,
Up Club.
that's right. You were the catalyst for early risers. That's what we do. We're early risers. And Julie even said, she goes, it's kind of good because it's quiet in the house. So I was like, okay, we're doing it.
Yep.
And it really, I mean, I don't know. You know who did it? Coach Burt. Coach Burt's book is coming out. If you guys don't know Coach Burt, he's in my book. I put him as a resource. Flip the Switch is coming out. And he said, I don't know any other author who will give you 8 weeks. He's given people 8 weeks of his time. So if you guys, just FYI, if you haven't heard it yet, I still love Coach Burt. I've got so many quotes in here from him. So sorry, I got a little off track. Thank you all for sharing. I appreciate it very much. So we talked about my mantra. We talked about my story, my 3 aha moments, and why I wanted to write this book. So I believe, and this is the first chapter quote, which is, I believe you are the only one who can decide to take action in your life. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Hell yes.
Thank you. It's
All right,
really,
I got a cell phone. I either type or you gotta.
you can do either. It's okay.
I want to see everybody.
Okay. So it is. It is absolutely you. And that's why, I don't know if anybody's heard this story, but on my book title, they told me to put can capitalized. You can do hard things. Well, I said, yes, anybody can, but you have to want to do it. So it all starts and stops with you. And that's why I capitalized the word you and put the emphasis on you, because it was really, really important to me that this book really stemmed from you. And again, that's why I wanted to do the book club, to walk you through it, because sometimes people don't have the tools, have ever seen somebody else do it. And that's why I want to walk you through it. So I made a decision. Those are really hard for people to make. Decisions are hard, but it all really started for me when I decided that I was going to make myself a focus, that I was going to learn about me, and that I was going to become the best version of myself. And it meant a lot of changes. And when I went through this book and I really charted out the chapters, it really came super easy to me. And it's kind of in the process. And so I had to really get quiet. And that's where this one question came from. What do you want? And when I say that, how do you feel? What does it spark for you when I say, or even not when I say it, when you ask yourself that question, what do I want? I don't see any smiles. I'm just putting it out there. It's just a time. Again, I'm just walking you through it because, sometimes you read it, and this is the whole point of the book club. It's to get us to a place where we can have that community. If you have a question and you want to talk it through with us, more than happy to do that. Open. When you ask yourself, what do you want? The hardest part for people is to be truthful. It's not about what your husband wants or your wife wants. It's not about what your mom wants or your dad wants. It's not about what your boss wants, right? It's not about what the soccer team wants. It's not about what your kids want. It's about what you want. And a lot of times we don't know the difference because of our conditioning. We've done it for somebody else. We were the mom. We were the dad. We were the coach. We were the employee. But when you really, and it's funny because I can feel it in my heart. It's so funny. I can feel the feeling. I'm like, when you ask yourself and you really center on you, it's hard because you have to weed out that other stuff. You have to weed out work. You have to weed out your spouse. You have to weed out your kids, which is sometimes horrible for a mom, right? Because that's who you think you are. It's your main purpose, right? To be the provider, to be the mom, to be the person that they can come to and look to. But I know that if we aren't doing our best, then what are we showing our children, right? So this is the time when you really have to be open and you really have to ask yourself through the process, what do I want? And if you don't know the answer, this is the part that's kind of fun. Ask yourself what you don't want. What are you doing right now that you don't like, that you don't want to do, that you don't like spend time doing, but you're doing it anyway? Because you're a parent, because it's your job, because it's what somebody else expects of you. Right? Procrastinating, is that something that you don't like doing, Bernie? So it's good. Also in the consistency maker, there's journaling parts. There's parts in this book. I'm just going to ask, and it's okay if you didn't do it, but if you've read the book and you did not do the work, let me know.
I don't even have the book.
Did you download the free one?
I didn't see it. Where would I download it from?
Oh, it's okay. You can do it after this.
Okay.
You can do it after this because I'm really walking you through the chapter. I talk about all of this in the first chapter. My goal in this book club is to really talk you through it, because again, you can read it, but I'm giving you my experience. I'm giving you the things that I've learned, because a lot of people won't do the work. When I stood up on stage for the first time and I asked who read my book, I got these. And then when I asked who did the work, I think, I don't know, maybe 2 people. But the majority of the time, we don't sit and take the actual time and space for ourselves to do the work, to answer the questions, to ask ourselves the questions. And I just want to encourage you and tell you that it is absolutely the best thing that I have ever done for myself. I thought that I was successful before, but success for me is liking who I am, liking what I do, and liking how I do it. And if you have questions or don't like what you're doing, or don't like who you are, or don't like how you're doing them, and that was one of the kickers for me, it was I didn't like how I was doing my life. And so that's why I went on this journey. I was like, this is not, I don't like to say enough, but I knew that there was more. I'm sure you've heard me say this 1,000 times. When you change what you think, it changes how you think. If you think that you have enough, and you think that your complacency and your comfortable is enough, then that's what you are, and that's what you've accepted. But if you have somebody who showed you, if you had an inspiring spark, if you've seen it done before, then you have a different perspective and you change what you think. If you're constantly in a circle of people who are negative and talking down, and they look at you like you have 3 heads and why would you want to do this, then that is what is perpetuating where you're at, right? You just keep, you're in this fishbowl. You just keep doing it. And I've seen, except for Bernie, because you're very, very new, and Julie, you're super new too, but I've seen the spark, and sometimes we just don't know how. We just don't know how. And so that's why I have prided myself, and it gives me great joy to share, because even though I'm still learning, which I will always continue to learn, I know it works. I know it works because I've done it. And so when you sit and you ask yourself, what do I want? And I'm just curious, and you don't have to share, but do you know what you want? So this is the point of the first exercise. So I break it down because it does seem like a lot, right? It's this big, huge, it's like the Grand Canyon. You look at it, you look at the question, you look out, and you're like, what do I want? Sometimes you know, thank you, Bernie. Sometimes you know one area, right? Sometimes you know exactly what your career looks like, but you don't know what your intimate relationship looks like, whether it's just a boyfriend or you're married, or you're looking for love, right? What do you want that to look like? So I break it down. What do you want? And this is what this comes straight from the book. What do you want? Be truthful, even if it hurts. And what that means, Lorraine, are you looking for it? It's in my IG. I'll do it at the end. It's in my IG bio link. You just click that, and then it goes to another link, and you download the PDF. So just so you know, but I'll post it at the end. So what do you want? Be truthful, even if it hurts. Jot down the first 5 things that come to mind. Just the first 5 things. It doesn't have to be any specific category. If you know 5 things you want, write them down. It's a broad and totally huge and overwhelming question, which I get. This is why most people don't know how to answer it, but don't worry. We will be breaking it down throughout the rest of the book. So to get started, look at these categories. So the very first category is life. What do you want your life to look like? I don't like the word perfect because I don't think anything is perfect. We make decisions, we have things, today that we might not want, but tomorrow we could change it, right? We have that power. That is one of my core beliefs, is that you are more powerful than you know. So when you say, what do you want your life to look like? Take those 5 things, right? That you do. And you don't have to do it right now. I'm just giving you the sparks to know what it's like so that you can do this after. Who is in your circle of friends? you kind of have to take an inventory. This was really hard for me. Yeah, it was really, really hard for me because I was doing things that I didn't like. And I'll be honest, I was drinking a lot and I couldn't figure out why. Well, fun is one of my core values. So I was like, it's fun. It's fun. I'm drinking because it's fun. Because I like to bring the fun. So I would go out with my friends and I would drink a lot. But what happens when you drink? You get a little carried away, you do stupid shit. Then the next day you waste time. Well, why are you wasting time? Because there's something in your subconscious that you don't want to acknowledge, right? That you're trying to run from, that you're trying to get away from, that you don't even know is there until you ask yourself, why am I drinking so much? Why am I always wanting to be so fun? I mean, I really like fun. I do. So who is in your circle of friends? Write them down. Part of this process is to get yourself to be aware, self-awareness. So if you're just thinking it through in your head, you don't always get the impact of writing it down. There's something therapeutic. There's something that comes in the process of actually writing it down. Thank you, Bernie. So the next question is, what is the influence of the people you are around, right? Are you around people who drink a lot, maybe smoke a lot, maybe do other things a lot? Are you around those people? Are you seeing what they're doing? Are you thinking it's cool? Are you thinking that it's not cool? Do you want to be in that group anymore? Do you want to continually do that? This is the part where I'm like, be honest, because there's some things that you can like about a person, and then there's some other things about that same person that you cannot like. And then it's your responsibility to decide if the good outweigh the bad, or if you just want to be with that person in those times where it's good for you, right? You have that power. Sometimes you just don't acknowledge it. So write it down. I put in here garbage in, garbage out, right? It's the old adage, if you constantly have garbage in, you're constantly going to have garbage out, and it's a reflection, even though you don't always see it. But what's the term everybody uses? You are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with, right? So they're a direct reflection of you. So really evaluate who your friends are. Love, this is always a big one for me. What does love look like between you and your significant other? And it's not necessarily the outward, right? It's the inward love. Do you have a romantic relationship? Do you have a connection with that person that you are spending your personal time with, right? That person. What do you want your love to look like? So first you ask yourself, what does that love look like, right? If you have a relationship, are you doing the date nights? Are you having cuddle time? Are you going out and exploring new things together, right? Or are you more off doing her thing, off doing your thing? Are you taking time to check in? Are you looking at goals that you have as a couple? So what does it currently look like? That's your first question. And then the second question is, what do you want your love to look like? So if there's things in there that you just wrote down, or you just evaluated, realized, reflected on? There's something in there that you don't want, or you want to get better, then that's the time where you want it to be what you want. What do you want your love to look like? And then here's a little bit of a different spin on it. Who do you love and why? And when I talk about love, there's all kinds of love, right? It's your relationships with your friends. Well, if you love this person, because there's all different variations of love, right? I love each one of you in different ways. I love you because you support me. I love you because you want to grow. I love you because we have hard conversations. I love you because you hold space in my life and you give me energy. I love you because you've had certain moments in our lives where we've connected on a different level. And yeah, that's another one. Bernie just said, need to work on loving myself. So when I ask you, who do you love and why, include yourself. What do you love about yourself? Love is an all-powerful force. And you might not know it, but there's two things with love. You either want to give it or you are thirsty for it. You are craving love. The reason why you do things is for love. You either, again, want to give it or you want to receive it. So look at the actions that you have. And I guess maybe for me, that was one of the reasons why I was drinking, because it brought me a different kind of love, right? A friendship love. People were loving me being that way. And, you know, I'd even say encouraging me, right? Encouraging me. We'd set dates and we go out. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but it's the frequency in which you do it and your goals. And you have to evaluate, is that the way I want to spend my time? Or do I want to do it this way? So the whole process literally is always asking yourself why. So again, who do you love and why? And then what kind of love are you searching for? If you're not attached to somebody, if you don't have a significant other, then this is the part where you say, well, what does love look like for me? What am I looking for? My biggest thing is respect. I want the man in my life to respect me for who I am, for what I do, for what I stand for. And that's big for me. That's really, really big for me. So if you're not with somebody, then, write and journal and ask yourself, what kind of love are you searching for? Okay. Business. Everybody has career goals. Everybody is looking for significance so that they can have freedom, right? I mean, those of us who are in the entrepreneur world and who are in business groups and things like that, that is kind of the underlying goal in life, is to not have your job, J-O-B. What does it mean again? J-O-B. No, what is it? What does J-O-B stand for?
Just over broke.
Just over broke. Thank you. I'm like, what does it mean? Jail something. So for us, for other people, and this is what I would like to share also, is sometimes we haven't had that role model or that person to tell us, yes, you can, in whatever way that you want to achieve your business success, right? What does your career look like? What do you want it to be? Do you want to be the 8 to 5, 9 to 5? Do you want it to be you're working for somebody else's goals? Or do you want to have the freedom, your own choices, and things that you can do with your family? What does it really look like for you? If you want to climb the ladder and you're a lawyer, or you're in the medical field or something like that, there's nothing wrong with it. Just what does it look like? Are you at the level where you're going to stay? Do you want to grow and get to the next level? What does that look like for you? And then if you are in one of those fields, how do you want to expand on what you already have? What is the next level? Not necessarily if you want to get to it, but what is it? And then when you think about it and you're like, okay, well, what do I want? Do I want to go to that next level or do I want to stay where I'm at? Right? What does that look like? The last one is family, and family is also really, really important because it's part of who is it, right? Some people have their parents, they have their support. Some people don't. Some people, are estranged. Well, is that the way you want it to be? We always have a choice. I learned in my relationship with my mom, I didn't have the best relationship with my mom for a long time. My dad has never been in the picture. And I learned that there's something where you can meet them where they're at. You don't have to have the expectation that they'll be there for you always. You can still love them and have them in your family and just meet them where they're at. So if they don't understand you, that's okay. If they don't love you the right way, the way that you need, that's okay. It's the acceptance of where it is, right? And knowing that it's okay. But then the kicker is it the way you want it to be? Is there something that you could do to change it? If there's not, then there's the acceptance, right? And that's where I was at with my mom. So who is in your family? Who do you call your family? Is it the close circle of friends? Are they your family? What do you enjoy doing with them? What brings you joy? What creates energy that you want to be with them? Why do you want to spend time with them? And if you don't want to spend time with them, then evaluate that. What is it that they're taking away from your energy, right? What feels like it's missing in your family life? Are you estranged from a parent, a loved one, a child? And have you done everything you can to make steps towards either not necessarily rectifying it, but putting in some effort to make it better? Sometimes you can't do that. And that's when I say meet them where they're at, right? Acknowledging that you've done what you can. But if there's something that you could do, if you reach out and you say, hey, I'm just thinking of you. Hey, I wanted to, just tell you that it's been a while since we've hung out. Let's set a date for coffee and catch up. Something like that. My family says they can take me only in small doses. Do you have high energy? It's good though. And then that's another thing. It's like meeting them where they're at. If you're different, if you're the black sheep, if you're the person that always goes and gets it, if you're the person that always brings the fun, sometimes people can't handle that. But remember, that's a direct reflection of them and not you, right? That's a direct reflection of them. You can be, you can have, and you can do anything that you want and that I shouldn't say want, anything that you vision yourself to be. How about that? You can do and be anything you vision yourself to be. The last one in family is a big one for me. How do you want to lead your kids? So as a mom, when I was doing those things, as I look back now, and as I get feedback from my kids and they tell me about the things that they remember or they see or I did that I didn't necessarily see. So the reflection from them who they saw I was is not the mom I wanted to be. So when I say lead your kids, it's being the example. It's being that person that they look up to and they say, I want to learn from them. Maybe you give them that idea. You know, there's this thing that I just recently learned is there's a generational, not a gap, but I don't want to say a curse, but like a generational, I'm going to say curse for lack of a better word. Somebody give me a better word. I don't know. Generational, you take it with you because of the conditioning that you have and you saw it from your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa. That is what you learned. That is who they were. And so that is who you had the mirror of. So then that is what you do. There's always one person in a family that can break that. If you're in a family of alcoholics, which I am. If you're in a family of victim mentality, you can change that. Maybe culture. Okay, generational culture. Okay, I like that. You can break that. But the trick is seeing somebody else do it, because again, you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around. So if you don't get that spark, if you haven't had a role model to teach you to learn to be different, and you always are in the same thing, then that is what you carry to the next generation. So when I say lead, how do you want to lead your children? That's what I'm talking about. How do I want to lead my children? I want to show them better. I want to tell them that they can do anything that they set their mind to. And I want them to know that the success is liking who you are, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. There is no bar that says you have to make this amount of money, that you have to be this amount of stature, and that you can be this in everybody else's eyes. It's all about you and the success of you. So that's what I want to lead my children to be. So it all is a lot. This is the biggest chapter. This is really the biggest chapter, because once you learn about these things and you have the self-development, and again, I know it's a lot, but if you have any questions, if you want to have a conversation about any one of these things, I have the link in the Facebook group. We can set up one-on-one time if you want to go through any one of these things, if you want to have a hard conversation. And again, that's why I wanted to set up this book club. It's because I wanted to give you more access. I wanted to walk you through it. And if there's something that I can help you with, I am here for you. How did we do? I feel like that was a lot. Really, I feel like it was a lot. And I'm trying to be really respectful. I went 10 minutes over, but we did start a little late because it is early. Thank you. Thank you, Bernie. Says my energy is amazing. It is early. It's very early for this amazing energy. I would love it if you would just give me share. If you want to do it in the chat, fine. If you want to talk to me, Ben, I'd love that too. Give me one takeaway. Is there one thing, if you've already read the book, right? I know the boys, I think the boys have. Ben, did you read the whole thing? Yeah. Give me a takeaway. Is there something that, came across differently because we talked about it versus you reading it? What did you get from today? Cute. Bernie's got his hand up. Bernie, go.
My big takeaway today was from, I love what you said about the family, with it sometimes, like I said, they take me in small doses, but, I always thought, what the hell's wrong with me? But what you said was, that's not a reflection of you. It's on them.
That's right.
But see, I'm out of the majority here because I'm like the only one that's, fun and fired up and like you. And that's why I follow you, because I see you and I see myself. I'm like, how did this chick get to where she's at? Okay, because that's me, the fun guy, the drinking and all that. But yeah, man, I'm you ain't gonna get rid of me now. So thank you. Good. You're only.
I love it. I love it.
You're only
Raging fans.
you're only gonna be able to take me in small doses.
Well, good thing you live in the other side of the state, but that's okay.
Wow. Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
And just for the record, just when you say that, did you notice my response?
Yeah,
What did I do?
you're like, yeah, I can dig that. I can relate.
Well, I actually mirrored what you said, right?
In what way?
You said you can only take me in small doses. So my response was, oh, good thing you live on the other side of the state.
Yeah.
But do you see what I'm saying? The words you speak are powerful. So it's a privilege to be in your energy, in your space. So turn it around. Because you've had that conditioning of somebody telling you they can only take you in small doses,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that that's everybody's reaction. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. Okay, good stuff.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Hey, it's nuts.
It's nuts. Let's get nuts.
All right.
Lorraine, can I share yours? Oh, she's on mute. Fact that you broke up. Yeah. So she really liked the garbage in, garbage out. Fact that you broke up what I want. From what I want from my family and what I want from my relationships. It's a big differentiator. So that's good. Thank you. Write down what you don't want. Sometimes because we don't know what we want, but we know what we don't want, it gives us a little bit clearer picture. So good. I'm glad. Thank you. Who's next? Osborne.
I'll go soon. Yeah. So like for me, it's getting back to the basics because I'm at a certain point in my life where I'm receiving things at a different frequency now because of
That's
the
good.
amount of work that I've put in. So it's like I literally speak with coaches and like 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs like on a daily basis now. So I'm like, my mind's just like blown like to a certain extension, but it's also I see patterns where a lot of them don't necessarily have the same exact processes that literally anyone can apply at that time. So like being able to execute the basics better than anyone is like a form of true mastery. So like being able to just get there and putting in the work and having these conversations where while you're helping everyone and worried about the day-to-day of maybe what you're going through or like losing track, it's like, are you really taking the time for yourself on a daily basis? That self-care. And so like this hour, just being able to do that where I'm not dad, I'm not like the business coach, I'm not any of those things. I just get to just be a student.
Yeah.
And support my friend in what she's doing. It's like it's a great feeling to kind of have that, and that's why I'm here, and I'll always continue to support you because you give us those nuggets in the form of like ways that we can understand it. And I know with the authenticity that you do bring, that you mean every word that you're saying, and that's why I'll always support you. So that's
Thank
why
you. Thank you. That means so much. I really appreciate that. And it really is. It's the core of you. And I just want to point out too, what you said is you're talking to all these 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs, right? And you're seeing little things, right? You're seeing the little things. Foundation is huge, and that comes from you. So never lose that. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm going to chime in.
Okay, Ben.
I'm going to definitely chime in because I was actually just sitting here while we were talking and I've gotten into the habit of getting into these index cards, and I have a few of them spread around the old desktop that I use as notes writing now. I take them with me on a day-to-day, and the what do I want question, that's kind of huge because it goes back to the basics. In fact, Osbert hit something that just kicked a memory off in my brain about something. I think it was Bruce Lee that said it. I do not fear the man who knows 1,000 ways to hurt me or something like that, but the one guy who spent 1,000 times learning one kick or something like that. And it's just getting back to the basics of what it is. It's we get so caught up in life and everything else around us that we forget the basic, and I believe the word you used was foundation. And that's actually pretty key, because that's kind of where I'm at, is forgetting about them basics, forgetting about that ground level stuff. And I'm so trying to, how do I do this? And how do I do this? And all this other stuff. And then it's like, wait a minute, what is it that I want? It's just a core statement. It's a basic thing. And yes, I've forgotten it on multiple occasions up to and including now. So
Reminders are huge. We get caught up in all we do. And so it's nice to have these reminders, and it's so important, and we'll get into it more. But you also said something, Ben, and the tagline for my book, if you don't know it, is how to be proactive with your growth, right? And not reactive with your life. So if you keep doing, and you don't get in front of it and you're proactive with you, with your foundation, with where you're coming from, then what happens? Life kind of takes over. So it's good. Andrea, I know this is a key time, so I appreciate your feedback and I appreciate you being here. And I love that smile, and she's learning all new things about herself, but she said, what do I want? That's a big one for me. And you're helping me answer that. And I really think too, that one of the things that helps us, and the reason why I wanted to do it for 5 weeks, I'm going to put 2 chapters together, is because it's the consistency. The more you hear it, the more you see it, the more you'll want to do it. It's right in front of your face. If you put that question up somewhere, Ben, you said you use note card or index cards, put it up. You should see this wall right here that I stare at. You should see this wall. I have notes everywhere, but it's true. You surround yourself, the group that we have is you, affirmations, and positive mindset. The more you see it, the more you do it, the more you hear it, the more you speak it, and it will become a way of life. It just happens. Julie, thank you. More definite questions to answer. You need help. I have a link, just so you know, because I just added her to the Facebook group last night. There's a link inside the Facebook group where you can schedule a half an hour one-on-one time with me if you want to talk more, if there's anything else that I can help you with, and anybody can use it. Okay. Bernie, you too.
Thank you so much.
First week. Oh, I didn't take a picture. Put your cameras on really quick. I didn't get Cheryl. It's okay. Yay! Look, you look great. Bernie, I'm gonna have to fill you in.
What?
Where's your face?
I'm typing. I'm on my cell phone.
Oh, okay, stop typing.
No, my
You need a kick in the ass? I'll give you one.
Come on, Bernie, you got to be a part of the picture, man. This is a thing. Trust me.
All right.
Okay, and then I'm gonna have you do one more thing.
No, hang on.
There you go. Ask to start video. Ready, go. You guys are great. Oh, I love it. Lorraine, I'll send you the book. She lives in Petaluma. There he is. Okay, one more time.
I was like, maybe I'll just come get it.
Yeah, come get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
I
have the
would like
book.
everybody to say this, okay? Everybody off mute, off mute, off mute, off mute.
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing I want you to say is, yes, I can. Say it.
Yes,
Yes,
I can.
I can. Ready? I can do hard things.
I can do hard things.
Come on, that was pathetic. I can do hard things.
I can do hard things.
That's so funny. Well, we are all definitely on Pacific time, so we are all given a little bit of slack because we don't have the energy yet. Everybody go do 10 push-ups. I'm still on my push-ups, guys, just for the record.
That's what I've been doing.
It's a thing. It's a thing. I do push-ups.
Yeah, it is.
Been doing.
Maybe we should start the push-up challenge.
But it's like you guys
I'll be back.
are you done with your coffee?
Bye, Lorraine. I muted her. Okay, thank you very much. So next week, are we all going to be here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we all
So
going to be here? Yes.
Yes.
Thank-
As long as the coffee holds out.
Well, I'm not making it, so make sure it holds out.
Same
Okay.
time.
So just in closing, we talked through it just now. Now, please actually do it. even if you don't do it all, even if maybe there's just that one area where you want to say, okay, my business or my relationship or my family, maybe it's too much to do all at once, but that's fine because we have the whole 5 weeks to do it. You might find an aha in a different chapter and want to go back. So even if it's just one thing, because our next chapter is affirmations. So if there's something in one of those areas that you want that you think is holding you back or hindering you from moving forward, then maybe we can form an affirmation to help you with that. Okay. So book club week 1 concluded. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you being here. I'm very, very excited to have you for the hour and 20 minutes today. Next week, I promise it'll be an hour. Okay. This was a big week. It was a really big week. The first week was big. So thank you very much. I love you all.
And real quick, any homework aside from the chapter 1 for the next, you want us to read chapter 2? What's that kind of like?
So the way I envision it is I walk you through it, then you do it. So I walked you
Okay.
through chapter 1 because, sometimes you've already read it, right?
Mhm.
Well, did you do the work? Well, if you didn't, then this is your guide to get you to go through it with me, right? To actually do it. If in that time, because we have a week in between, if you find that you're super stuck and you need some extra support, like I said, use the link and we'll set up some time and we'll walk you through it. Okay. I'll give you a kick in the ass with encouragement. Your CEO is signing off. Have a fabulous Saturday. Thank you. I love you guys.